Hi, I'm Ursula Yovich, and I'm the co-writer and the co-songwriter for Barbara and the Camdogs.
And I'm Alana Valentine, and I'm the co-writer and co-songwriter.
Look at the sun.
So you go first.
Just shut up and go first, will you?
There she is. There's Barbara.
Yeah, so fucking get on with it.
And never give an inch.
Barbara was pissed off, ramped up, foul-mouthed, shamelessly sexual, flirtatious and dangerous.
Yeah. She was wild-eyed, hip-shaking, loud laughing, and she was just brilliant, good fun. This was a version of First Nations female power to conjure stereotype-busting magic with.
I guess it was a version of me that was pretty raw and exposed, a version that, people don't usually see in the light of day.
Burning sweet sensation.
I mean, initially when I spoke with Alana and even Vicky about this was the anger wasn't just about history and societal issues. It was about initially it was my frustration. It was around the time that I was having a big old whinge about the industry and not kind of being given. It's not even the opportunity. I have this thing where I go, you have to be in the race to be able to win it. But if you're not allowed to race, then you can't. You've got no chance of winning it. Which is how I felt about auditions and I will only ever get called on if they need an Aboriginal actor. And so that really bothered me because I thought I'm okay. I think I'm a pretty good actor. I think I'm good at what I do. So I was really frustrated at that. And then obviously all that other stuff, starts coming out, which is it's not just theatre or film or television. It's actually the way the rest of Australia perceive Aboriginal people, and it's not always in a positive light or in a two-dimensional kind of light where you don't actually understand where that anger comes from. Where does the frustration? Why are we protesting in the streets? Why are we doing all of that? Well, this is the reason. There are reasons behind why people kind of lash out. People don't just lash out for nothing, and so that's where it's coming from, I suppose. And it's my own frustrations, but I suppose it's also, it's yours, Alana, as well, as a female writer,
Yeah. I also was really excited because Ursula was turning that anger out. A lot of times on stage we see women characters turn that anger in. And Ursula had worked with me on the Barefoot Divas and Vicky, and we'd written a monologue to turn that anger out and to actually throw it back to the people who deserved it. And we wanted to see a character who, had all that rage and anger inside and wasn't handling it well, wasn't just this sort of victim who took it and, then turned it on herself, but instead kind of was crushed by it and diminished by it, but then just lashed out at the world. And it's just unbelievably exciting to watch an artist, a senior artist of Ursula's stature, find her voice in that and be this voice of a vision about how you deal with this.
And I say that's fine, because there's over 250 Aboriginal languages. So we could sing in Brada or Jarwin or Pitjantjatjara or Yungulmata or Darug or Darawal. And he says, well, how are we going to communicate then? And I say, Bub, I prefer to communicate in ways when the speaking is required.
So this is it's a musical. There's 16 songs in it. It's a play with songs. It's a strong drama. We hang it together it hangs on Barbara's absolute and utter need to speak to Australia, to women of the 21st century, right here and right now. Great, and we just hope that it shows that, but also there's a beauty and a vulnerability in what Ursula shows in Barbara that I think it's not just about rage, it's about pain in all its forms. So there is a gentle beauty and a kind of rock ballads all through the second half of the play.
I don't like musicals. I don't know if we kind of follow the form of a traditional musical.
No, there's rock songs all through it. Yeah, rock.
These are actual songs that you'll probably see me perform as Ursula at a, Lazy Bones or something. They don't take the story in a lyrical sense all the time. Some do. Some have an inkling of the story, kind of being progressed through the song.
Yeah, it's not about the songs sort of like illuminating. They have a relationship to the characters like rock singers' songs have a relationship. They're about their emotions and feelings and lives, but they're not this kind of direct line, is it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the emotional journeys through the music as well as the script.
I mean, music is poetry. Like, lyrics are poetry in music. So the music has a poetic relationship to the drama. I mean, people will find the emotional link, but they'll still have to work the lyrics out of the song like you do in a great pop song or a great music song or a great, any sort of song like that. Ursula said this thing. She said Renee and Barbara are singing for their lives. And I think that's really true. I think that they can't actually corral their feelings in a way that's, outside of the songs, yeah.
Any Aboriginal language in a song officially makes it world music. I mean, what does world music mean? It's all fucking world music. Oh, the music industry, who love blackfella singers, as long as you're the one they decide is outstanding and a real Aborigine. For Barbara, I suppose, she's never felt secure in her world. So her foundation has never been solid. It's not to say that she hasn't kind of received love, but the love that she kind of always wanted, which was, through parents and community and culture and all of that, that kind of stuff. When it starts to get stripped away, what do you have left? So she's kind of and I find myself in this place. Ursula Yovich doesn't write that stuff, but does that mean I'm any less, any less blackfella than someone who does write it? And am I any less if I don't speak it? There's quite a lot of us that don't speak our language or don't know our culture or don't know the intricacies of, law. So yeah, she's lost. She's culturally lost, spiritually lost, but also family-wise, community-wise, she's kind of been abandoned. So that's where Barbara lives. She lives in this kind of precarious world that she feels like she's driving and not always in the right way. She really does muck up.
Yeah, and she lives in a world where she knows absolutely what the cost of expressing herself in a not acceptable and positive, and people think that that's just troublesome to do that, and that's for women multiplied by 1,000,000 times for Indigenous women. And but it's that thing where if you really feel what you think, people still find that dangerous. And that's when I first saw Ursula at the 2008 Helpman Awards doing this version. That's what it was. It was just so exciting because it was like, she never shows this part of her. And she's always, smiling and nice. And it was just wonderful to see her kind of embrace this unadulterated version. And that's what audiences should come to see, because otherwise they're being fed a lie about both women, Indigenous people, all of that. This is an opportunity to go, you know what? Suck it up.
Hi, my name's Elaine Crombie and I play Renee. Renee is Barbara's cousin. The dynamic between Barbara and Renee is loving and explosive in the same sentence. That's how it happens. Their relationship from start to finish, I think people will watch this and go, oh yeah, I have a cousin like that. My sister's like that. You know, like people will really identify with their relationship. This story is everyone's story. These struggles are everyone's struggles. You know, you're fighting with family. Not every family is perfect, and that's what this is. This is showing the ugliest, strenuous relationship that our cousins and our brothers and our sisters put us through, you know, and everyone can relate to that.
I find there's parts of me that's like Renee, where I can look at a lot of my family members and I totally understand the anger, the sabotage, the self-sabotage, the self-abuse, the bringing your, you know, lowering yourself, because to put yourself up there means you're going to have to, you know, hurt a couple of people. I can see that and I understand it because I do that myself, but I wanted that other side, that other character that really understands. She gets it. She is the voice of, you know, the audience. They get her. They're gonna be on her side most of the time, but they're also going to understand through Renee, you know, why this Barbara is the way she is. But there is also a breaking point for anyone. You know, you go, how much more of this can I take, and where do I draw the line? Also, as another Indigenous woman who does get it, who does understand it, but where do I draw the line and go, I'm going to keep going along with this and keep, you know, feeding Barbara what she needs, or what she doesn't actually need. She needs someone to actually say, no, that's enough. Or do I start to look after myself now too? So there is, it makes sense that at this pivotal moment, and it's it's something that you can't come back from. And yes, I think you fall in love with the characters and you want things to work out, but things do change, and irreversibly so. I mean, who's to say whether it's just a negative thing? You know, it's all about growth.
Ursula and I have both lost our mothers, and so for us, that moment in life, we know, is one where all the constraints and all the clamps and all the control that you have normally on yourself, and we both can do that, perform the nice girl, it all comes flying off. So for us, that was like the ideal, you know, moment of crisis. Somebody, a close female relative, suddenly being very ill. We knew that was when it would be all bets were off, and we'd see into the heart of these women. And, you know, female friendships are, and sibling relationships are, you know, they are difficult. They're not nice, and they don't just resolve nicely. They're constantly difficult. And Ursula said this amazing thing in rehearsal. She said she's so proud of Indigenous people because they just forgive over and over and over. And we wanted to find a way to push that to where it was almost impossible to do that.
Never give an inch. Never give an inch.
Because I feel like, you know, theatre is a wonderful way of changing people's heart, especially when it comes to like Indigenous issues. You know, that's been a lot of the stuff that I've ever been involved in, obviously, are Indigenous stories, and it's a way of being able to get our version out there and for people to understand that. But it's complicated. We're complicated people. We're complicated because we've had to deal with an invasion, and we've had to deal with, you know, genocide. It's not people just being killed, but our culture being killed. You know, knowledge, I've always said knowledge is power, but the knowledge of our culture and our law, our languages, all of that has been ripped from us. And to top it off, you know, the whole closing the gap thing, you know, we also don't have the white fella knowledge, so we're stuck in this we're stuck in this world, and people need to understand that and be, you know, show compassion to be able to go out and go, that's what it is, and not pass judgment.